everyone wanted to talk about it publicly, but we are all kind of worried of anything legal cases, lawsuits, etc. What I felt really sorry for was these divorcee women's, right? Because they were just coming out of a very, very hard time, and single mothers, right? Because their husband had left them and they got 3 children to feed now. They're working 12 hours a shift, right? And they're looking for a way to get out of this rat race, the 9 to 5 cycle, or in their case much more. And eventually they borrow money. This is what I really worried me, because I didn't have to borrow money. I had certain level of saving. These people had to borrow money, and these people were paying on not in one go like me, but on a monthly basis. And now they are complaining to me, right, in our group, that whilst we were having a coffee after a meeting with Eric Ho, right, that I don't know how, I've got to pay my rent, and this much is going out of my account every month, and now much more than the rent, the bills and utilities, right? I'm gonna have to find a money to pay this month. If not, I'm kicked out of the group. One of the lady who had borrowed money from her parents, promising that she will pay back because she's going to make a lot of money, because she has a platform on the stage now, couldn't pay back, and the parent, her parents, the single parent, died, and she said, I could never forgive myself.
Yeah. You want to sound like a guru. You don't sound like a guru when your name's Eric.
Exactly.
Hey, Eric. Thanks, Master Eric. No, you don't sound like a guru. You sound like a guru when your name is Master Sri Askarana. Oh, dude, and his stupid little blanket thing drives me nuts. I'm changing my name, my disciples, to give Master me money Sri. Now, please. Shri, give me money. Welcome to Fake Guru. Today we have Sunny, who's giving us a testimonial on Eric Ho, which is pretty exciting because we just talked about him, and I think it resonated with a lot of people. A lot of people said, oh my gosh, this guy is really, this is ridiculous. This is one of the more ridiculous gurus we've talked about. So thanks for coming on the show. Tell us a little bit why you decided to come on and what you want to get done here.
Thank you, Steve. I really appreciate it. I think it was about time that someone should talk about Eric Ho, because obviously I had gone through an experience of losing my hard-earned money with this guy. And along with me, there were a lot of people in the group as well, right? So everyone wanted to talk about it publicly, but we are all kind of worried of anything legal cases, lawsuits, etc. And also depending on the people's background, right? Some people don't want to reveal and give away everything, because a lot of people actually who were in my group were attending the events, the courses, in a hope to make money so that they could feed their family, but unfortunately they have lost it. So as a result, I think there was a lot of frustration, and I thought it's about time someone talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on. The culture of silence and shame is definitely real. It's definitely unfortunate. For the audience, Sunny has chosen to be anonymous due to his to some job restrictions, stuff like that. So that's the reason that's going on right now. I just wanted to make that transparent for our audience. He has receipts of going through Eric Ho's course. So this is a verified purchaser here, verified customer. So let's just get into it. I mean, give me the timeline. When did this all start? How did you find Eric Ho? What got you to buy in?
Actually, it's really funny because, at the time, I believe he was quite new on the internet as well. I think it was one of these social media platform where a small, this targeted ad appeared, and I must have clicked on it. I can't really remember the exact time. Well, the time actually, this was around 3 to 4 years ago, but I can't remember the exact time when I clicked on it and started listening to some of his videos, right? Mm-hmm. Then, obviously, this was in London. There was a sign up for a free event on one of these weekends. So I thought, okay, why not? It's free, or, whatever, $5, $10, whatever it is, you go there, right? And it was really good. It was carefully designed and crafted to make everyone feel good. And there was a lot of very, I would say, a very, high level of sales tactics designed for people to purchase what they were upselling. Hence, it was free, right? So I went there, and I didn't buy it straight away because I was a little bit, I wanted to be careful because, the money I had saved was very hard earned money. And just going back slightly about what you said earlier was that, yes, I am, I have all the receipts, I have the bank statement, etc., to verify it. I've been through his course, and so I'm a legit student or mentee, right, as they call it. And yeah, so that's how I came across it. And on the second time around, when I went, I thought, okay, maybe this is worth my time, and taking up his a mentorship, right? Taking up the program, and then you start making friends with other people in the break time. You have a coffee together, you start chatting, and they're all talking about signing up, and then you kind of make friends, and you have a coffee afterwards as well, or a drink, and then you said, okay, let's sign up, right? Because we all want to get out of this 9 to 5 corporate job, or other people wants to get out of their financial difficulties, right?
Right.
So that's how it happened, and we signed up. And just to remind you, sorry, just to add one more note, was that you sign up because they make it very, very exclusive. There's only 3 spots left, and this is 50% discount today, and from tomorrow it's gonna go up to freaking $50,000, and then they bring some of the guys, some of the students who are currently on the program to speak up, and then they come and speak to you on a break time, on a lunch time, and they say how wonderful it is. But what they don't know is they are also being brainwashed at that time, because they are made to feel good about it. But surely there was some kind of commission based, I suppose. There's some kind of reward and incentive for them, that if we as a group sign up, say we are a group of 5, and if 3 of them sign up, then you get this much percentage, etc. So they encourage you to sign up as well.
Right. The students encourage you to, like, hey, you should sign up.
Exactly. And how good their life has been, etc. But in hindsight right now, if I had asked the question about not how good you're feeling right now, but how much money you have made, right, from the time you joined till now, I'm sure they wouldn't be able to answer it, because
that's
they're
a
all
much
in
better
that
question
hype.
too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So you realize the things afterwards, and at the time you just thought, okay, you're going to be one of those, and yeah, that's how I signed up. And so to take you back, so you sign up for 1 year program, right? And they promise you between 20 to 30 minutes appointment every couple of weeks, whenever Eric Ho is in London, right? And he comes to London to give these free seminars almost every month, because he wants to sign up more and more people, right? So what happens is you come to a free seminar, right? And you use massive high-level sales crafted techniques, and then eventually, say from 100, if you sign up 2, right? Or just let's assume 1, right? From 1,000 they can get 10. So if you are charging between 10,000 or 15,000 pounds to 20 or 25,000 pounds, depending on the duration, right? Then you can just multiply that. It's a massive, amount of money they make, and eventually it becomes a numbers game. So now they want to just keep doing these free events, and deploy this very high levels sales tactics, like this exclusivity, only 3 spots left, etc., and eventually they want to close as many number as possible. And then these guys who are are employed on their behalf, saying how great the program is, etc. Surely they get some kind of incentive or a commission, and that really helps you to make that decision, because that's a real life testimonial, right? But what you don't realize is they are being groomed. They are part of the scam, or they don't even realize it. That's how good these guys are. How smart these guys are, that they are also actually helping to join the.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to know if they were affiliate linked, for example. That's really common, where a student is affiliate linked to the person, and when they'll put like who signed this person up, and they put their name, and then if you do that, then you get credit, and you may get like a kickback or money from that sale, because you're the person who like basically sold them on it. That's really common.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a good question, because now I remember, because when you are in that seminar, right, you have to fill in this form, right? And I remember reading this part afterwards. Of course, someone made a comment on this as well. They asked you a lot of questions, especially a business idea, what you want to do. But one of the most question is how much you earn, how much is your salary, and how much you have in your savings, right? And who is talking to you, who's looking after your group. So you could be person A, right? Hence now I think it
Right.
makes sense when he said that, they are getting commission because that person A is looking after my group and person B is looking after another group, right? So that was the only question there. And very funnily afterwards, all the people that has a very good salary and a good job, right, or savings, gets selected and interviewed, right? And interview is just really funny because you go to this room and then they ask you again what you want to do and how motivated you are, why do you want it. It's like, I don't know, they are trying to make it hard for you, I suppose, right? And then that's great, and there's a synergy here. And then the way it's sold during the program, remember this program is for about 2 to 3 days on a weekend, right? So everything is carefully done. They don't sell you straight on the first day. They motivate you enough on the first day. On at the end they start dropping some bits and pieces here, like we're looking for joint venture partnership, we're looking to work with other people, we can invest in their business ideas if you like it, if you qualify for it, because we only have this many spots that we can give away, right? Right. So on the day two, you're thinking, oh, I wish I could be that person, right? And everyone else is saying that as well in the coffee break. Oh, if he chooses me, he could be my joint venture partner. He could invest in my business, and we could really sell together, right? Whatever you're selling, could be product, could be services, right? And you get this, and then towards the end of it, you fill that form, right? And then you go through this interview process. But what we don't realize is they're taking everyone. It's not 3 people, There was like
Anyone
a
who can
15.
pay.
Yeah, exactly. There was about 15 of us in the group at the end.
Oh my God.
And
And each of you are paying how much? How much did you pay for this course?
the standard price at the time was £12,000, right? And then it could increase to 20 or £25,000 depending on what expertise you need. So for example, if you have a business, right, it could be just providing a consultancy, whether it's therapy, whether it's I don't know, advice, etc., right? That means you could just pay £12,000, because which is around, I don't know, $15,000, right? Because your business you already have clients and you've already done it. But if you're looking to build something brand new, right? Say I want to build, I don't know, I want to build a pen, right? I want to create a new pen, and then you want to sell it, right? So now you need more advice, you need consultants, you need more guidance, you need more mentorship, right? And as a result, you end up paying a lot more. So I end up paying a lot more on £20,000, which is, I don't know, 20, 25, 26, 28 US dollars, 20,000 US dollars. And
Did you pay that straight out of savings?
Yes, because if you pay straight up, you get discount. That's why it was around 20,000, right? But if you pay monthly, then you end up paying around 15-20% more.
Now, what had Eric Ho done at this point that made you think this is the kind of guy that's worth $20,000?
Good question. He talked a lot about two of his business. One was this noodle franchise chain that he had, and I had Googled it extensively, and I went to one or two of them to have my lunch as well, just to make sure that they do exist. And then there was apparently this steel and tire recycling business, and he talked elaborately on that business. His business partner was this old man, and how he went to China, and he had set up the whole meeting and they didn't turn up, and there was this guy on the phone, and suddenly called him up, and then realized it was him. So there was a lot of this thing about this steel and tire recycling business. And again, I looked into it. There was a company existing with his name, plus other people as well. So what I believe was that he was part of this company. But what I didn't realize at the time was both of these companies, a lot of these companies actually, when I said a lot, because in the UK, you can literally open a company, within a day, register online and pay about $25 and you can open it. You can personally right now open 10 companies right now, and you'll get approved, 3 days later, right, in the company's house. So he had done that, and a lot of these companies were liquidated or insolvent because they were unable to pay the debt, right? Which I didn't realize. And everyone thought, okay, this guy has been there and done it.
All
and
these
won the t-shirt.
businesses, all this stuff he's talking
All
about,
the
like their gigantic
stories.
successes.
Absolutely. And then, these, again, these guys are very good because they go through this roller coaster of emotions. They tell, you share the story of all the hardship, and then, what he did to overcome some of the hardship, right?
Right.
And then all this beautiful, kind, this spiritual stuff, this ethical things he's done. And then, like I said, it's about, about 2-3 days seminar, and then he goes through all of these roller coaster rides. And you think, okay, if you are going to join venture with someone like him, it's a shorter cut. It's a shortcut, and it's much faster because you don't want to make all the mistakes along the way, right? If you
Yeah,
want to do
that's
it
how they
alone,
get you.
right? And exactly. And then the worst thing for me, right, towards the end of this mentorship, when I started becoming really upset because I was realizing within month 3, I was the first one to complain in the group, and started telling other people whilst we met, right? Say I came to an appointment. Eric is in London. He's giving 3-day seminar, and you get an appointment on the 4th day, right?
Yeah.
So he's there now, finishing his 3 days of seminar, super tired, because this seminar goes on forever.
Oh, great.
Because they want to deliberately make you tired. They want to deliberately not finish on time. They want to, because it's easier to manipulate you when you are very tired and when you are, just been sitting on a room for a whole day and doing high fives and all this motivational right
Yes.
stuff.
Say yes.
Yeah,
Say
yeah,
yes.
exactly. And they make you repeat this stuff, and like you said, there are a lot of rhetorical questions about saying yes to everything, and eventually, you're not thinking much, and then that high level tactics of sales comes in, and then really bits you. So now the point I'm trying to make is that, so you get a 20 to 30 minute slot, right? And when you go there, he's trying to meet about 15-20 people, plus he's meeting new recruits, because remember, this is a new seminar now, and then new leads and new students, right? So when you go there, you're literally sitting behind a queue, and you recognize some faces because they are part of your group or the other group. And then finally, when your turn comes up, the guy is already looking at who's waiting on the queue, right?
Yeah, he's
And then,
uninterested. He's tired.
yeah,
He's
he's
exhausted.
tired and he's not interested. And then when he mentioned, remember we talked about this last time, I've done this, right? So where do you go from here? And he said, how about this? And I said, yeah, you told me that last time. How about this? Yeah, we talked about that 2 times, a previous appointment. How about that? And what have you done? I said, I've done this. Do you remember we were talking about this? And he goes, oh yeah, yes. That's when the guy has no track record of, where you are, and he's not interested because he's already made the money. And he's only interested on the new recruits because that's who's going to pay the money.
Right.
And that's when you realize you are shafted. That's when I started voicing my opinion to the the group I was in, 10-15 of us. And they were, unfortunately, these were nurses, plumbers, divorcees, single mothers. And they were just telling me, you're so negative, son, Sonny, why are you so negative? Stop being negative. You got to be positive. You got to think about the law of attraction. You got to read books on that. Like he said, you got to manifest things and it's going to come to you, right? And in the beginning I was polite, but afterwards I was really, even I was kind of giving them a hard time as well, that, look, I'm a practical guy, I work on defense projects, and if things doesn't just appear magically.
That's sort of a toxic mentality, that you always have to be positive, because as soon as you're not positive and you realize this isn't going how it was promised to me,
Mm-hmm.
well, now of course it's not working for you because you're being negative.
Negative, yes, absolutely. And this is no different than any of this, this big network marketing business where, a lot of people are running around trying to recruit more people, right? Because they are in this pyramid scheme, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people know that, they are not allowed to talk negative. They are not allowed to, be ask any questions about the founders, right? The top level management guys.
Right.
But if you look at companies like I think they're called Lioness, ACN, some of these biggest multi-level marketing companies, right? Only if you look at the terms and condition, I think only 1% makes the actual money they're promised, or less than 1%.
It's less than 1%. It's
yeah,
less
absolutely.
than 1%. It's about 0.3%.
Yes, indeed.
Profit.
Yes, absolutely. And these guys are using that tactics, right? And what I felt really sorry for was these divorcee women's, right? Because they were just coming out of a very, very hard time, and single mothers, right? Because, their husband had left them and they got 3 children to feed now. They're working 12 hours a shift, right? And they're looking for a way to get out of this the rat race, the 9 to 5 cycle, or in their case, much more. And eventually they borrow money. This is what I really worried me, because I didn't have to borrow money. I had certain level of saving. These people had to borrow money, and these people were paying on, not in one go like me, but on a monthly basis. And now they are complaining to me, right, in our group, that whilst we were having a coffee after meeting with Eric Ho, right, that I don't know how, I've got to pay my rent, and this much is going out of my account every month. And now, much more than the rent, the bills and utilities, right? I'm going to have to find a money to pay this month. If not, I'm kicked out of the group. And I said, really? And then there's one guy who works for them. He's like, one of these debt collectors, big, massive Spanish guy. I think his name was, forgot his name.
He was a debt collector for
Eric and his company. And basically he calls you and then gives you the warning, we'll take you to court. I think they have an in-house lawyer, because I never had to face this. Remember, I had paid in one go, but these guys were called several times to remind them to make the payment. They were not kicked out straight away. Obviously, they are given a bit of a chance, right? Because they need the money, right? Exactly. So there was a lawsuit, threats. They were, these guys calling them all the time, suggesting you need to make a payment no matter what. And if they say they don't have the money, just borrow it. And these women, right, they were borrowing from their parents and their friends. And I felt really sorry for them. And one of them was crying all the time because she couldn't pay the money back, because she thought she will make the money by working.
Of course.
With Eric.
Manifest it.
Exactly, manifest it. And these women, right, some of them were given
no, you're fine.
Some of them were given opportunity to share the stage with him. So, with all credit to him, right? So they got on, say, 20 minutes slot, right, on the stage. So they could come to the stage and they could talk about how good, it has been to work with Eric Ho, right? And then what they do for living, like a therapy consultants, right? And how they help people, etc. So they could sign up these followers, who were attending this free seminar, right?
Even though they themselves were not making any money at all.
Well, they were making money from, their own clients, right? So say they were providing a therapy for a client, right? So they're making that, but they wanted to increase that. So anything that they sign up through Eric, right? Eric gets a commission on that, 50% split. 50% split.
Wait. 1 second, Sonny. I haven't heard this part yet. Hold on. You're breaking new ground without me. Let me catch up.
Yeah.
Okay. Say that slowly.
So say this one of his mentee students, right, gets a 15 minutes time on the stage with Eric. So Eric speaks and, talks about selling his, all this motivational woo-woo stuff, right? And then he says, okay, now I'm going to introduce you to one of my students, my mentee, who's extremely one of the world's best professional coach, blah, 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 blah. He or she gets the time, stays 15 minutes, and then they eventually have to sell, right? Because that's what they have joined, that's what they're paid Eric for, right? So if they sign up, say 10 people on their therapy session for 1 hour each, or etc., so they charge, say, $100, right? Eric gets 50% of that. So eventually, all the people that you see in his website, I'm a creator or something, right? You see all these people with the testimonials, all the people coming to the stage, they have paid him about $20,000 or $15,000 to share the stage in one of these seminars, to upsell their product or service
to
whatever they're selling.
To give 50% of it to Eric.
To Eric. And then they were getting frustrated, some of them, because they had to do all the work.
Right. Because once you sign up a client, then you have to do the work of the client, and Eric's just getting 50%.
And what really pissed me off was that, right, this lady who had borrowed money, right, from their parents and the friends to pay him money, she had to chase his, secretary, one of his team member, to the money went to Eric actually, right? The money because they had signed up from Eric's seminar, and they had also signed up from something called webinar, as you know, webinar, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Eric
yeah.
has these say 10,000 followers. He calls everyone, and then they sell, right? Now the money when they book, it goes through his website. So now they had to call their team to ask for the 50%, and they had to call them a lot of times because they were not getting paid on time, right? And one guy, another therapist, he was a coach, right? He just gave up. He said, after 3 months, I give up. I don't want to work with this guy. I'm not
He
going to
just
pay
let
him
him have the
anymore.
money.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want this 50%. I had enough, and he left. And he left. And there was another girl who left suddenly. So I was, in touch with her. So I contacted her, and we met for the coffee. And she said she couldn't pay, and this debt collector kind of guy said, basically, in that case, you're out, right? So we have a WhatsApp group where everyone is chatting, right? She was kicked out and she was blocked because Eric doesn't want to talk to people who can't pay, because he has to be this merciful guru, right? Who might have to accept her. So she's blocked, and she wants nothing to do with it. And eventually, when the program comes to an end, right, the whole group is closed, saying, the program is over, all the best, and then everyone is boom, 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 just kicked out. And all you see is, this is kicked out, that is kicked out, that is kicked out, and suddenly you see your name, you are kicked out, and that's it. And you have no contact with him whatsoever. And then so few of us get together and say, shit, what happened, right? And then that's when you started realizing the horror stories, because one of the lady who had borrowed money from her parents, promising that she will pay back because she's going to make a lot of money, because she has a platform on the stage now, couldn't pay back. And the parent, her parents, the single parent, died. And she said, I could never forgive myself borrowing her money and not paying back on time, because that I can never, I can't rewind that time, isn't it, right? And she was crying literally. And I remember in one of this event, because you see, when you're part of this mentorship group, he has all these events ongoing, right? And you're invited free again. So then he's now upselling different courses. He's selling public speaking courses, right? For a weekend for £5,000 or $7,000 for a weekend for 2 days, all right? And then he's selling a trip to Kenya because he has this charity thing in Africa, right? Right, and this is another scam which I'll tell you about, right? Because he actually raises money in the seminar, right? And in various other points when you're meeting or when you're going for dinner, etc. And then he says he gives it to the charity in Kenya, but we don't actually see it, right? So now he's upselling the public speaking course. He's upselling another forex trading course with one of his groups, right? And then he's upselling a charity trip in Kenya. And do you know how much that cost for about a week?
Tell me.
I can't remember the exact figure, but it was no less than £5,000, so no less than $7,000 US. Okay, right? And you get the T-shirt. You go and do charity work, and you take pictures with these beautiful children, right? Okay, that's a good cause, but you're paying extremely high amount of money, compared to if you're going yourself.
Okay, let me be honest. What bothers me the most about Eric Ho, and just it kind of offends me, is not, I mean, I've just seen a lot of gurus, and so I'm a bit numb to it at this point. But what I'm not numb to yet is these people going under the guise of like, I'm your spiritual leader. And I'm like, I'm going to lead, I'm going to lead you to fulfillment and happiness. And this is kind of your way. And he puts himself as this, like, he calls himself the master now, right? I'm the master. Yes. I have the answers. By the way, do you know that he calls himself like 1,000 years old or something like that? Like he's like,
no idea.
No. He said when you go into the Himalayas, you meet people that are thousands of years old.
And recently I went on a Himalayan trip, and I was hiking that mountain, and I met some people, and they were thousands of years old.
And then he talks about when he went up to the Himalayas to go get his name changed. He was up there for like a week or so, but then he says that the time wasn't real. And that he was actually up there for, I think it was like years. Like he's like,
actually, I wasn't away for 30 days. This is what I was talking about on the CC Plus Hangout.
Yep. I was away for years because it was in different dimensions.
Yeah.
And only the more conscious people will understand that.
Yeah. So he's this wise old man ready to teach you all the lessons of life. I mean, that just bothers me. And tying that into because typically, I mean, you know, there's now all sorts of people who do these kind of things, but typically spirituality is like disconnected from money. Like, give me your money,
Yes,
you know, give
materialism,
me your money,
right?
give me your money, give me
exactly.
your money.
But he's actually, you know, it's a different twist in his game, isn't it? Right? He's using that to target vulnerable people. Because if you are targeting a corporate worker, right, working for a FTSE 100 company in the UK, or say Fortune 500 companies, all these big giant, you know, tech companies in the US, these guys are more. I would, you know, I'm not trying to be rude here, but they have been in the corporate game. It's dog eat dog world out there, right?
Yeah, they know.
They're all competing for exactly promotions and etc. So they are much harder to sell. But when you're targeting vulnerable people, divorcees, plumbers, you know, who's going out of business, right? People who's sick of 9 to 5, just an average way, and they want to get out and do something in their life, right? They are much susceptible, vulnerable to accept this I would say this platform that is providing, right? And how easy it is to make money, manifestation, and he's doing that, and now he's as you know, right? He's showing off his material wealth all over the internet and connecting that with the spiritual stuff, which is completely wrong. But unfortunately, it becomes a numbers game because when you have millions of views, millions of people following you, eventually you only have to sell 5%, 3%, or 2%, and you make a lot of money doing that. And I'll tell you why this works. I'm realizing this now. Have you seen a program in a Netflix called Wild Country? Right?
No.
It's about this Indian guru, right? I mean, people are talking about it a lot now, actually. It's about this Indian guru called Sri.
No.
Sri Ran. I have it somewhere written down. Rajneesh. So Sri Rajneesh, right?
Oh wow.
He had millions of followers. Okay, right? The guy he was the biggest collector of Rolls Royce in the world. I think he had about 96 Rolls Royce, right? And he moved to the United States from India with all his followers. Mainly 90% were Western, right?
Right.
Okay, and he bought all this stuff, and then he made his own country. They were all wearing just a red robe. Simple lifestyle. Okay, meditation, all kind of activities, right? And they were growing their own food, farming, etc. And you know why he had so much money? He was worth, I think, 100 million at the end, right? You know why he was worth so much money?
Why?
Because all the people that joined his country in the middle of USA, somewhere in Oregon, right, gave up their house, gave up all their savings, being brainwashed, and he had a freaking like account department, signing all the contracts and lawyers and everything. And they were Hollywood stars, by the way. They were doctors, pilots.
Oh yeah,
right.
Bring me your rich.
Exactly. And these people, 7,000 or something like that, if I remember the program, right, lived there, and they were creating all sorts of trouble to the local, the county, with the public people. All kind of mess and all kinds of, trying to poison the water for the local people, etc., etc. And the police, they had guns, they had their own armed force. I mean, if you watch Wild Country, you would be shocked, how these people.
I will. No, I definitely will. That's fascinating.
And the guy had two jets, by the way. The guy had two jets. And at the end, when the police were trying to catch him, you know what he did? He left everyone behind and he ran with all the diamonds and all the golds and everything. They caught him before he got out of the country, luckily. And he had to go through the whole court and ordeal. And then he agreed a deal with the government, the United States government, to go back to India and just leave everything behind. And those people now had nothing to go back to. Who gave up their house, their savings?
Yep.
Nothing.
That's the thing that frustrates me, is that people, I think, in desperate situations, they go for people like Eric Ho because they think things can't get worse. I'm already in a bad situation. What could make this worse? I'll just go into debt. I'll just push it all, bet it all. And the reality is that things can get much, 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 much worse. And people find that out. They go, what could be worse than working my 9-to-5 job? Well, working your 9-to-5 job, $20,000 in debt, or $25,000 in debt, or $28,000, whatever it is. Yeah,
And
that's
yes,
super predatory. It's hard to get this across. Now, why doesn't the UK government do something?
because this is very hard. You see, you're not buying anything tangible, right? You're
Yeah, you
not buying
gotta
a product and say, I bought this and then it didn't work, right? So it's not like that. It's a consultant service, right? And you can argue both ways. And what eventually happens is, if you take a matter like this to the court, what eventually happens is that you've signed up and you can show a receipt, and then at the back it says yes, but there was an offer for to cancel the program and ask for your refund within 7 days. You didn't. What the hell are you going to know in 7 days? You don't know. This is all going to happen
Yeah,
in
you're
7 days,
buying a coaching
right?
program. You don't know
Yeah,
anything.
exactly. And then the guy, they will have lawyers and everything, very good lawyers who could argue that you are given this, this strategic advice and right, this kind of consultant business secrets or best practices. They'll use all sorts of words, right? And you didn't implement it, etc., etc. So it's very hard to argue this case, not only in the UK but also in the USA. Hence, all these gurus makes a lot of money. And then I strongly believe he changed his name, right, to Sri, this whatever this thing is calling himself now,
Yeah.
because he knows that's how these guys, Sri Rajneesh, and then there's another one, Sai Baba, right, in India. He had 50 million followers in the world, right? And then when he died, check this out. When he died, the police raided his house and they found over 100 kilo golds. I think 300 kilos of silver were, jewelries and ornaments, right?
Wow.
And the guy was worth, I think, $5 to $10 billion, something like that.
Oh,
Some argues up to $30 million. And he was the spiritual guru, and he called himself the reincarnation of a god. And then that he was actually able to do some tricks, some of these tricks to I don't know, what the magician does, right? They do something. And
Oh,
then
I've heard of this guy.
Exactly.
He's supposed to manifest a watch in his hand and
exactly
slide of hand think he goes like this.
And he actually done it, and then people believed it. But then when they showed in slow motion, there was it was all a hand trick. What the magician do, right? He learned all the best of the tricks, and he actually did that. So back in the days, right? 50 million followers, dude, in the world, and the guy was worth between $5 to $30 billion. $5 to $30 billion.
That's so unfortunate.
They found a underground in his private property when the police raided it with an army, right? Because obviously his followers wants to fight, right? So obviously they had to bring the army. so they found over 100 kilo of gold, over 300 kilo of silver, and I don't know, watches and jewelries and all this, this designer perfumes, and I mean. So the reason Eric Ho is changing his name from Eric Ho to Master Sri blah blah something, right, is because he's literally following their lead, because that's the easiest way to make money.
Yeah. You want to sound like a guru. You don't sound like a guru when your name's Eric. Exactly. Hey, Eric. Thanks, Master Eric. No, you don't sound like a guru. You sound like a guru when your name is Master Sri Askarana. Oh, dude, and his stupid little blanket thing drives me nuts. That he shrouds himself in a blanket. That pisses me off.
And all these gurus did that.
He wraps himself in a robe now to be all spiritual.
Exactly, and he's literally following these gurus. That's what they did. Simple life, material, no materials, right?
Hold on one second.
Yes.
Hold on 1 second. I gotta go grab something.
Oh my God, you made my day. Oh my God.
Hello, my child. I am Master. Master, give me your money.
Oh my God.
For the rest, I'm changing my name, my disciples, to give
Master
me money
Sri.
now, please. Shri, give me money.
Exactly. Oh my God, this is ridiculous. Honestly, that's what he's doing.
That's what he's doing. He literally wears a robe like this. It's absurd. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's
and then he makes a video on a Lamborghini on the background, right?
Yeah, Yogi in the Lamborghini.
Yeah,
he always talks about. Dude, I saw a video the other day where he's like, "Yeah, if Buddha were alive, he'd be a businessman." It's like, no, you don't
This
you don't
guy
understand anything.
honestly, this guy is taking the piss. He's taking to the next level because, he's putting words on things that, you shouldn't. Because you can't really put your opinion publicly out there on, people's religion, right? I think you should have respect for all religions. Anyway, that's a different matter. So what I'm trying to say is that he's following all this guru's path because he knows it works and they made it work. These guys made millions, billions in that case, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, he's looking for a way to become the, quickest way to generate millions, and that's why he's changing his name. That's why he's getting into spirituality and all this manifestation, law of attraction, because he knows there's a massive audience out there, massive followers who are vulnerables.
Yeah.
Right, who are vulnerable.
Let me ask you something.
Sure.
So I got a message from somebody on Instagram. He goes, did you know he makes everyone stand when he enters the room and only address him as master? Did you have any experience with that, or is that the new Eric?
That's the new Eric. Remember, I was with on that program, right, several years ago, right? And so that's the new Eric. And he lives in Lincoln in England, right? And he invites people there. He's got a garden and a house, and then makes all sorts of parties, from barbecue to all this meditation stuff now. So literally, I wouldn't be surprised if he's doing that in his house, right? And this it works because that's the target now. That's where he makes the most money. That's where people are vulnerable, and that's easier. And if you notice one thing, there's a lot. There are more women audience, right, in this law of attraction and manifesting stuff than men, and there are more. I would say a lot of Asian as well who are into this stuff because it originates. A lot of the philosophy originates from Asia, right? Or every part of the world, but it's just that there's a massive audience there, and that's why he's doing it. And then the other thing I want to talk about quickly was that during this this program that you're in, right? He's traveling all over the world, like in America, in Vietnam, in Kenya, the charity, right? Again, it seems like a charity, but what he's doing is charging people like £5,000 on a 1 week tour to Kenya, and he's actually making profit out of it. Okay, right? So basically, imagine you are in London or you are in the US, right? You signed up to him. You can't even meet this guy. The guy is not even in the country. You call him and you send him a message, he doesn't respond. And then and you're fed up. You're stuck. You're trying to get some solution, right? Because you're supposed to be this business person, right? Who's trying to create a product or a service, and it's so difficult. And finally, you get an appointment with him. Okay, he's gonna have a seminar in this location, right? That weekend. So after the weekend, he's gonna stay one more day in that location, so you can have a meeting with you guys, right? And you get a half an hour, 20-minute slot. And like I said, when you go there, there's 3 people in front of you, and by the time you sit and talk to him, there's 5 people waiting for you to finish.
That's crazy. So you paid $20,000 to just sit around and wait, basically.
Yeah, and literally he talks about things he doesn't even remember.
Is that all he provided? I mean, what else did he provide that could be
Nothing.
Justified under $20,000?
Nothing. And then there's one more thing. There's Anthony Robbins, right? We all know who Tony Robbins is. He's one of the biggest guru out there, right? His son is I think his name is Jarek Robbins, right? And he works with Eric Ho, and they do this package deals. I know you're becoming shocked, guys. There's so much. I mean, there's this package deals to go to South Africa. I think it changes every year. So let's go to South Africa, or let's go to what's that island in Indonesia? Bali. Yeah. Let's go to Bali, right? And we're gonna spend a week together in one of these luxurious apartment or hotel, right? And then we're gonna party in the evening, in the night, right? And then in the daytime, we're gonna go, we're gonna meditate, we're gonna do fire walk, and we're gonna discuss business ventures, right? All the things happening in the world. And then you have to pay £10,000, which is what, 13,000 pounds, US dollars, for that, for 1 week holiday. And he was upselling so much on that. So I said, right, okay. Because I think because he realized, I had quite a bit of savings where I just pay up front. I wasn't paying monthly. So I said, okay, let's get this straight. What are we going to actually discuss? Who is this guy? Okay, I know his father is the world famous. Okay, I give credit to that. Okay, Tony Robbins, okay, he's up there. Okay, all right. But what has it got? I haven't even heard the guy's name. Just before you told me. Has he got, I don't know, MBA, or has he worked for one of the Fortune 500 companies? Has he got any real life corporate experience, business experience? No. So he's just another guy who just talks like you. And what is the actual value I'm going to get? And you know what he said? He said, it's very hard to define that. It all depends on you. It all depends on how you take it, right? Because you see, we could be in a jacuzzi relaxing, and we could be talking about a small business venture, and something could just click and manifest, right? And that idea could be worth $1 million, right? Or we could be, I don't know, just drinking and chilling with all the students, and we're talking about.
Hey, you just don't understand how spiritual Eric is, okay? You don't understand how it's a spiritual value, Sonny. You wouldn't understand. Exactly. This is something that only Sifus and masters and people like me and Eric understand, okay?
And that could be worth millions and millions of dollars.
It's really priceless. Honestly, it's priceless. So it shocks me that you would even ask. Millions upon millions of dollars, and you're lucky we're even giving you any time at all. You need to manifest harder, is the sense I'm getting.
Yes.
These poor divorcees, they didn't manifest.
I got to stop being.
You didn't manifest hard enough. The plumber didn't manifest hard enough. None of y'all manifested hard enough. You know what that restaurant owner should have done? She should have started her own course company. I think that's how she could have manifested. If she run her own course. That's what I always think to myself. It's like, if you want to make as much money as these gurus say they're making, just run a course. It's insane how much these people are making.
Absolutely.
You have to throw your ethics out the window, but
yes. And the funny thing, he started getting Eric Ho started getting his mother involved as well, right? So she started coming and sitting here. Normally you have a seminar and you have the stage and all the seats, right? On the back they have something to sell, like the books and the CDs, or you want to sign up, you have to go and write your name there and put the credit card details there. So I remember you were sitting in one of these seminars, again a free invitation because you are part of the group, right? So I was just kind of scratching my head at the time, like, why am I even here? Because I know what he's going to talk about. I know he's going to try and upsell, right? So why the hell am I here? And it's because to be honest with you, I wasn't manning up, right? I went there because I felt guilty if I didn't go, because the guy has been talking about it all the time, right? And then you meet his mother, who's at the back of the stage, along with other people who are ready to take your credit card details, right? With the terminals to put your PIN number, right? And then he comes there, and then he obviously upsells one of his program, and then he says 50% off, or I don't know, 95% off. I'm only looking for 2 spots, right? So when I say 3, the first 2 goes there and gets it. The others, I can't do it, right? And that is really amazing, because he counts 3, and then you look back, it's a freaking mayhem. It's like the whole building is on fire. Everyone is trying to sign up and pushing each other, literally. And you sit there, geez. And then he talks about something for a couple of hours, right? Which is one of his story. And then now he's selling another program. And again, the same mantra, the same procedure. And then literally he, just sells. Absolutely. I mean, I had to give it to him. You can sell, but this is unethical selling, right? And what's really, for me was that he's getting his mother involved, and there was a post during that time. There was a post that how he gave his father, I think $35,000 Rolex watch, right? And he was putting out on the Instagram, on the Facebook, on the YouTube about it, and how happy his father is, how proud his father is, etc. And I want you to go and do the same thing, right, to all his followers. And then when he's traveling to, say, the US, right, he's posting his picture on a business flight, business class flight, right, or first class. But what people don't realize, or at least I was really upset in my heart, that I'm freaking funding his fucking
you're funding that
flight.
Everyone who's like watching it saying like, wow, this is an amazing lifestyle. You're funding the lifestyle.
You're funding that. And then what really drove me mad, like, remember I was the black sheep, right?
You're manifesting Eric's dream.
Exactly. And the people in my group, right, these girls who were, remember I said nurses, single mothers,
Right.
they were like, wow, we'll be doing that someday. I'm like, why the hell don't you realize it's our money? And then they're like, oh, you're being so negative. I'm like, look, I got to stop coming to this kind of group chats in the future, because I'm telling you what's real, what's practical, right, what's happening, and you guys are just telling me that I'm being negative, and
Yeah.
I'm in the wrong group, right? So and then yeah, so he was doing the same thing about his mother, like giving her a gift about some cars and etc. And obviously his mother was sharing that post. His brother and his sisters, his brother is also there actually. He's got, I think his name is Hero, right? So he's also part of the group, and his team, right? So eventually his sisters, they're all sharing these feeds, and eventually their friends are also joining this, coming to these seminars, because they all want to know, who this guy is, and it's our my friend's brother or my sister's friend, right? So they're all coming along, and eventually, like I said, it's a numbers game. So you sign one on a £12,000 from every 100, right? So you want 10, you just get 1,000 people to attend your seminar.
Yep.
And just sell hard, and you get it, and then you keep upselling them throughout the whole year.
Right. It's the upsells that really get people. It's because they
absolutely.
they lose money, and then like, well, I'm already in it with Eric Ho, and he's telling you about all these other great programs that are going to, manifest you, and you're just not manifesting right now, and you're being too negative. Try again. And that's how they get you.
And then what's really bad is when they encourage you to take loan, when they encourage you to ask your friends.
That's horrible. Does that happen in Eric's program?
That's what happened to this lady who got kicked out.
I didn't know they were encouraging it though. They encourage that kind of thing.
The bulldog that I mentioned about, the debt collector, right?
Oh my God.
Basically, this girl was struggling to pay, and she was asking me for money, and I said, well, as a friend, like, do you think I can borrow?
Right. She's just borrowing from anybody. She just wants a loan.
Literally, and I got the gist, like the message, and I didn't talk about it, right? Because then I think she got the point, and then so I was just becoming more of a friend who was trying to encourage her, that hey, like I was just talking about things like don't get into this debt. As you know, I've been very negative from the start, right? And you guys have told me off as a friend, right? But you see now it's coming kind of true, because the guy we can't even get in touch with the guy. Where is he now? He's in South Africa. He's in Bali, in US, right? So she was obviously dealing with this this debt collector guy, who didn't kick her out straight away, because if they do that, then obviously they don't get any money, right? So he was threatening her with a legal lawsuit, and then he was telling her that, do you have credit cards and things? And she said, yes, of course, right? Can you ask them to increase the limit? And I think she was saying, do they do that? Yeah, if you actually do, they will, right? And they do actually, if you actually call the credit card and say, can increase the limit. And she was doing that, and surely she made some payments, maybe 2-3 months worth of payment through that. And when she couldn't do that anymore, right? And when she couldn't get the loans or credit limits anymore, she was out, like I said, out of the group.
Eric doesn't have time to manifest you. Let's start wrapping this up. Do you have any kind of closing thoughts or anything you're thinking of that you didn't get to that you'd like to say about? I mean, I think everyone really appreciates having you on, telling your story. Obviously, it's not easy to do. It's painful, as you said. Anything you can think of?
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, right? I've gone past the pain point now. It's been several years, plus I've been involved in many other ventures, right? Because this is what I wanted to do. And, I obviously tried as much as possible to learn from it so that it doesn't happen, right? So it takes me a lot of effort to try and listen to a guru. I mean, I don't listen to it at all, unless they are someone like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, etc., right? Yeah. Somebody, Buffett, like that, right? So you listen to people like that, right? And if people are really interested in business, all I can say, right, is to never, ever, ever go to these gurus, right? They only talk about one thing, which is they talk about shortcut, whether it's manifestation, whether it's all mindset. Tricks that they can, the mindset, whatever. It's all bullshit. Yes, you do need mindset, but you need action more than anything else. 99% is grit, sweat, hard work, sleepless nights, 7 days a week. You have to sacrifice social life. You can't make up, you can't, meet your friends when they're on a birthday celebrations, right? You got to come back with a red face when they say no, when a client says no to you, and then you got to, take the 2 hours journey back home, right? And then next you got to overcome that and be excited and go back and pitch to another one. It's a hard work out there, man. And no one talks about these gurus, because they
just
only
talk about the
this,
dream, the 9 to 5, escaping laptop,
Exactly. And then the manifestation thing is that you dream about it and then it's going to happen to you. They are skipping the main important part, the hard work, the effort, the time, right? It's very likely that it's going to be over the budget, no matter what estimate you have made. And it's very likely that it's going to take twice as long to make it happen. So that's my experience. So honestly, only if you need motivation, listen to those guys who have been there and done it. Real executives, real businessmen, Richard Branson, right? We talked about Buffett, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, right? Because these guys really have been through it, and they never ever talk about all these things that these gurus talk about, this woo manifestation stuff, the secret and all that crap. So that's my parting thought. That's my suggestion.
I think that's really great advice. And I think it cuts against what a lot of people want to hear. A lot of people want to hear the shortcut, even though all the gurus will tell you it's not a get rich quick scheme. It usually actually is. In fact, if you have to say it's not a get rich quick scheme, it's probably a get rich quick scheme. Real companies don't have to ever tell you it's not a get rich quick scheme. They just you just know. They're just legitimate. If someone has to say, oh, this isn't a get rich quick scheme, it's probably a get rich quick scheme. So yeah, I appreciate just a little bit of real world advice. Obviously, since you've since gone on and done very well for yourself. So thank you, Sonny, for coming on the show. And yeah, I hope your story inspires others and informs others so they don't make the same mistake.
Absolutely. Yes. I just hope they don't have to go through this whole emotional turmoil. That's the most important thing. I think, because money can always make it, right? If you do well within a short time of space, you can make a lot of money. It all depends on, what kind of, what you're doing, right? But emotion and the time that you waste with people like these takes a lot of time to, time you can't get back, right? Emotion, you need to build yourself up, and that takes time to actually overcome as well. So it's just a really bad thing these guys are doing, because the money you pay to these guys, right, you actually really need that money if you want to really set up a business. Because when you're setting up a business, you need every single penny. Like I said, your forecast, your budget, your estimate will always go over that. So that means you're now having to pull money together from all sources. And then you realize, oh my God, had I not spent that much money to this bloody stupid guru, right, this fraud, right, I would have actually used that money now, and I would have, made this thing happen. So those regrets will really hit you back, and it's really painful because you made that mistake, right? You made that decision. And for a lot of people in my group, they couldn't tell their parents, they couldn't tell their partners, because they made this decision secretly. That's why they couldn't come to the webinar to talk like this on the camera, right? Because they are living through it, and it's a very painful thing.
Wow, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Have a good one.
This YouTuber made $12 million by secretly pumping and dumping crypto, and no one caught him until now. In public, he says irresponsible sellers should be hit by a bus. Yet behind the scenes, he's been relentlessly selling the cryptocurrency SafeMoon to his gullible followers. In recent months, he's used his new wealth to buy a Rolls Royce. He's now flying private jets, and he's bragging about literally eating meals made of gold. Now, if you're wondering what is paying for these luxuries and look online for answers, currently all you'll see is a rag to riches story about how this YouTuber went from being homeless to making millions of dollars because of sick pranks he uploaded to YouTube. However, financial records show a different story, and no one would have found out about this had it not been for one individual who tipped me off.
My name is Lewis, and I have some interesting information about one of the promoters behind SafeMoon.
So to back up a second, I've been talking to a lot of people about my SafeMoon investigation. And at one point, I held an open room where anyone could come in and talk about their experiences, be it positive or negative.
What comes to mind when you say SafeMoon? I think scam, and I think pump and dump.
To me, I see it as a long-term hold. I've seen a lot of people get into it, kind of YOLO all their money in.
Just bullshit.
And everything was going normally until the unexpected happened. This guy joined. He's a YouTuber named Findeisen, and he's about to make a very serious accusation.
One of the promoters of SafeMoon was dumping SafeMoon while obviously saying, "Oh, I'm holding to the moon, guys," and while he was tweeting those things, was unloading literally millions of dollars with SafeMoon.
Wait a second, that could be criminal. What is this influencer's name?
Ben Phillips UK is his Twitter account.
Wait a second. Ben Phillips is a famous UK YouTuber. He runs a prank channel. He's got hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitter, and most importantly, he was involved with SafeMoon since March 25th, 2021 as part of their marketing team.
My name's Ben Phillips. If you haven't seen me, I'm actually a YouTuber. I think it's absolutely incredible, you know, what's going down with the community themselves, being just like picked up on my Twitter and being like, yeah, SafeMoon, let's go.
So this is the guy being accused of a pump and dump scheme. But how do we know if this is true? Well, if you look today at Ben Phillips' Twitter account for answers, you won't find much. Most of his statements have been deleted, and that's for good reason. Because in one of them, Ben Phillips does what you should never do if you pump and dump crypto. He leaked his wallet. Quote, "If anyone wants to buy me Starbucks today, this is my B&B address." Now, many of you have watched this show long enough to know what a huge admission this is and how this can be used to find out everything Ben was doing with SafeMoon. And the first thing we find is that he was definitely being paid for his role in promoting SafeMoon. The day he joins the team, the 25th of March, he starts getting paid in SafeMoon by the deployer wallet. He ends up getting paid several more times, a total of 5 trillion SafeMoon tokens for his services. But what was interesting was not when he got SafeMoon, but when he decided to sell it. We can check this using archived tweets from Ben Phillips' Twitter account, and we cross-reference that with the blockchain to see his financial activity at the same time. And here's what we found. A pattern of pumping and dumping SafeMoon, with, on the one hand, positive tweets about SafeMoon, while at the same time, Ben Phillips would be dumping the coins for a large profit onto the same people who rushed in to buy based on his tweets. For example, Ben Phillips tweeted, "Holy shit, Doge new all-time high, and now SafeMoon on its way to hitting new all-time high tonight? Who's glad they holding? Not financial advice." That very same day, Ben sold $44,000. And these dumps escalate as we go further into April. On the 20th, he tweeted, "Diamond hands always win," and then tweeted again, "Fire sale." That same day, he sold 3 times for over $1 million. The next day, while tweeting about an all-time high, he said, "I feel bad for everyone who sold again." His next tweet, "I feel bad for everyone who sold." And then this, "Well, I'm holding." That same day, he sold 3 times again for over $500,000. These are clear pump and dumps. If he really thought there was a fire sale on SafeMoon, why sell $1 million of it? And why would you sell $500,000 of SafeMoon right after you say, "Well, I'm holding"? The reason is obvious. He wanted the price to be as high as possible when he sold. And once Ben Phillips started making millions of dollars in such a short period of time, what does he do with that money? He starts spending it on stupid luxury items and bragging about it on Instagram, of course. For example, on May 21st, a month after making millions from pump and dumps, Ben Phillips suddenly buys his dream car, a quote, top of the fleet Rolls Royce. A month later, Ben is chartering private jets to Scotland for a birthday bite with his girlfriend of 3 years. He also can be seen bragging on Instagram about eating steak wrapped in 24 karat gold. Now, it should be noted, I'm not against people making money or promoting a product that they believe in, but this isn't that. Ben Phillips is profiting millions of dollars from publicly praising SafeMoon, saying he's holding SafeMoon, saying it's a good buy, while secretly selling it. He talked a lot during his pump and dump days about responsible versus irresponsible whales. He compares himself to a responsible one, someone who owns a lot of the token and isn't going to sell it suddenly. He contrasts this with irresponsible whales who sell suddenly. He says these people, they deserve the worst. In fact, on July 30th, 2021, when SafeMoon dipped, Ben said, "F***ing irresponsible whale. I hope you get hit by a bus." Now, lucky for Ben, his wish wouldn't come true because, of course, it turns out Ben was a irresponsible whale the exact month he was complaining about it. In fact, in the month of July, when he tweeted this, he was selling over $1 million of SafeMoon, lowering the price even further than it already was. But what are the final figures? How much did he make? Well, I enlisted some fellow researchers to tally the total amount. And according to our calculations, he sold $16 million worth of SafeMoon, and it looks like he profited roughly $12 million. Now, will Ben get prosecuted for any of this? I don't know. Very few of these crypto cases get prosecuted, no matter how obvious it is. Just very few people pay a penalty. For example, a few months ago, Ice Poseidon admitted on tape to a massive scam, and nothing's happened to him yet. So I can't say what the future is for Ben, other than I've done my best to report these actions to the proper authorities, and you're welcome to look through the transaction data yourself, linked below. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, and all of this is allegation and opinion until proven otherwise.
Wait, so that's it? It's over? He's not going to prison.
Yeah, our work here is done. Now we let the actual authorities take it from here.
That sucks. The evidence is literally right there in front of everyone.
Well, I don't know what you want me to say. It's messed up.
It sure is. Hey, did you reach out to Ben about all of this? I'd like to hear from him.
I did, but he didn't respond. I think he's too busy making more money with sick pranks.
Oh, you lost all your life savings? Whoops, it's just a prank, bro.
Oh, thanks. I needed that. This stuff gets really depressing after a while.
Don't mention it. In fact, I want to show you something. I think it'll make you feel better.
Sure. What is it?
Let me clock out and I'll show you.
Whoa. I didn't even know this was up here. This is beautiful.
Yep, this is the real Balmer's Peak. Gives you perspective. You know, they're not all bad.
What? You mean people?
You sit in your room all day and talk about scammers. But take a look around, Coffee. There are good people out there.